You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
I'm back. Hello, everyone. This is Kelly Jackson, host of Sassy Seniors. I cannot believe it has been a little while since I've been on the air with you. So I'm so happy to be back. And what a perfect month and week to actually continue my radio show, because guess what month it is? It's National Adopt a Senior Pet Month. So this is our month. We love it since we celebrate senior pets every day of the year. And, you know, I couldn't think of a better guest. We have Sherri Franklin as our guest. She is founder of Muttville Senior Dog Rescue in San Francisco, California. Good afternoon. How you doing, Sherri?
Well, it's good morning to me, but I'm doing great. Had my coffee.
It is kind of morning here in St. Louis, too. I know you're in California, but I guess I'm in the afternoon mode. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I first learned about you, I read about you over the summer and your organization and how you had placed or rescued your 1,000th dog, Maxwell. And, you know, I'd lived in California for a couple of years, and you were kind of my neighbor because I was in Sacramento. And so I wish I would have met you in person when I lived in Sacramento at the time.
I wish you, me too. You could have been part of Muttville.
Exactly. But I still am, because I write about you guys all the time.
That's true.
It's amazing what you have done in the 4 years since you have founded Muttville. You founded it back in 2007. And since then, you know, you've done everything from rescuing dogs from shelters. The city of San Francisco named Muttville Senior Dog Rescue Day last May. And you've really done a lot. But I want to know, what made you want to found Muttville?
Well, I love senior dogs, too. I mean, you know, who can pass up a gray muzzle? About 15 years ago, I started volunteering at the San Francisco SPCA. And at the time, they were still euthanizing. They were moving towards a policy of trying to save every animal, but at the time, they were still euthanizing. And it was so hard to watch as I walked through the kennels and see, you know, the old dogs there, the dogs that kept getting passed up for adoption because everybody wanted a younger dog or a puppy. And, you know, you'd see these soulful eyes just looking out at you. And, you know, the sadness that came over me, I became slightly obsessed with, you know, many of the seniors that came in. And I started, you know, one at a time, taking them home, fixing them up, fostering them, and finding them homes on my own. But I could only do that only on a very small scale by myself. So, you know, for years I kept saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start a senior dog rescue. And it took years to actually jump in full force and become a nonprofit and start, you know, building up our coffers so that we could save a lot more. Because, as you know, saving senior dogs can be a little bit more expensive because you've got to get them fully vetted and take care of their needs before you adopt them out. So we've been very lucky to have such success at finding great homes for these senior dogs and really marketing them as viable, loving, devoted dogs that are so easy.
And I think that's the thing. You know, there is the AP and pet side. They recently conducted a poll among pet owners. And of those who adopt pets from shelters, can you believe only 15% of those polled considered adopting a senior? And that's just way too low.
I mean, what's really, really sad to me about that is a lot of these dogs have come from homes where somebody has become incapacitated or has passed away, and they're used to getting lots of love, and they find themselves, you know, in a cement cell that's loud and cold in some cases, and they don't know what's hit them. And it's incredibly sad. And then the other half of them, the senior dogs, have lived their lives horribly in backyards somewhere, and then they get too old and, you know, they get dumped at the shelter as well. So these are ones that need it the most.
Right. So on any given day, so you get yours from shelters and also from people who no longer take care of them or those who have passed away, right?
Right. We get requests, owner surrender requests, and we work with many shelters all the way down to San Diego we've been and all the way up to the very north of us.
That's a huge area. Yeah, that's a huge area.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And Sacramento, we take dogs from Sacramento and the Central Valley and in California as well.
Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of fosters, correct?
We have about probably 75 foster homes on our roster, and about 50 of them are active at any given time. So we have about 60 dogs available up for adoption at any given time. And all sizes, we have one that's 2.9 pounds, and we've got a 125-pound dog. So pretty much all over the map.
If you go on Muttville's website, it's muttville.org, and you just look at the dogs, and they're just adorable. And like you were saying, have so much life left in them. But you also do hospice too, right?
Yes, we have some dogs that when we bring them in, we're never sure. We don't know what kind of physical condition some of them are in. So, we'll find out that they're in a later stage of cancer or kidney failure or something. So we have some homes that actually do hospice care for our dogs. We call it fospice. It's sort of a hospice foster situation where we still take care of the dog's financial veterinary needs, and we have them in homes. And people it's a calling, there are people that just do hospice for our seniors.
That is amazing because you grow so attached to them, and they only have so much time with those dogs. So those takes really special people to be able to do that. Yeah,
I think they look at it as an honor to care for an animal, at the end of life. So we do believe that when the quality of life is no longer, that the dog does really not have a quality of life anymore, we do believe in euthanasia at that point.
Yeah. Well, I know that in most big cities, there's a serious problem of overcrowding, and I'm sure that's the situation in the San Francisco area, right?
We're lucky, less here in San Francisco than in the outer areas of, the Central Valley and the Sacramento actually area, and some of the places where a lot of foreclosures have happened, it's even more overcrowded. So,
Yeah. So your hope for the future, though, Sherri, is to actually have your own facility to be able to house these senior dogs, right?
Absolutely. We are in the process of signing a lease on a space now that will really help us be able to take in more dogs and house them more comfortably, though we don't believe in long-term shelter environment for our senior dogs. So we'll still be foster-based.
Do you think people's attitudes, in spite of the poll results that I just told you about,
do
you think people's attitudes towards seniors, think that their attitudes are changing? And I always say this, people don't even realize, so many pet parents don't even realize that their dog is a senior, or even want to admit it. But do you think attitudes are changing about our senior dogs?
I do. I don't know if it's because we've become more known, but I definitely see an increase in people with interest in adopting a senior animal, a cat or a dog. And I think the word is getting out about, just how sweet and mellow and easy a senior dog can be as compared to a younger dog. And frankly, there's a lot of seniors out there. We run a Seniors for Seniors program, and a lot of the senior humans out there really shouldn't be adopting a puppy. It's too much for them. So, the wonderful thing is that we're putting the word out there, and we're putting out really great dogs and really making the match. And I think, word of mouth, and hopefully there's other senior rescue organizations cropping up now, which is so wonderful to see all over the country.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And of course, you would not be able to do what you do without all the supporters and volunteers that you have. And what I'm impressed with you guys are always having events. You guys keep really busy.
We keep really busy. We, first of all, we have adoption outreach events every weekend in different areas of the Bay Area to show off our dogs, and people come from other areas just to meet some of the Muttville dogs. Mm-hmm. So that's really wonderful. And we really try to engage our community. We engage our volunteers. We give everybody something to work towards, and that's saving another life.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to wrap up this interview pretty soon, but I have to mention your appearance on Oprah.
Yes. No interview is complete with at least a little bit of an Oprah moment. We were invited onto her Heroes show, which happened to be the last My Favorite Things show. So though we were hoping to be interviewed and be able to speak up on the plight of senior animals in the U.S., we didn't get that, but we got lots of local coverage, and we got great gifts.
Oh,
great
you
gifts
did?
from Oprah. Yes, we did. And I'm sporting a new car from Oprah.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, I just got it 2-3 weeks ago. It is a red Beetle, and we're getting it wrapped with the Muttville logo and a big thanks Oprah on it. And we'll be cruising around town with some of our smaller mutts in the back of the new Muttmobile.
Oh, that is fabulous. I remember that show, and I remember the Beatles, because this is like, at the time, it wasn't even available.
It wasn't out.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
So it's super cute. It's super fun to drive. I've never had a small car. I've always had like SUVs and station wagons, so it's really fun to actually have a little sporty car to drive around in.
Oh, well, that is fabulous. Well, since this is National Adopt a Senior Pet Month, what would you like to say to people? Because I know you have seniors also at home, senior dogs at home. Yeah, many. What would you like to say to people who are considering adoption and as far as adopting a senior?
I say, give a senior a chance. They have so much love left to give. And as our motto goes, it's never too late for a new beginning. And that's our motto now. And it used to be because we all deserve a happy ending. But really, it's just never too late for a new beginning. And these dogs deserve it. And they have so much love to give, and they're great in most homes.
I love that. It's never too late for a new beginning. And even though you are located in San Francisco, you've received so much attention. You're so well known in the San Francisco area, but you also serve as a model for, as you were saying, it's good to see so many other places across the country who are actually starting, senior dog rescues. And that's so good to know that we're having fewer seniors sitting in shelters, waiting for loving homes. And for that, we thank you, Sherri Franklin.
Well, thank you for having me on your show, and I'm really happy you're doing this. This is amazing that you actually do applaud the senior dog.
Well, thank you. If anyone would like, considering, particularly if you live in the San Francisco area, please go on their website. It's just as cute as can be. And check out all of the dogs that are available for adoption. It's muttville.org. Sherri, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Great.
Take care.
We'll be right back, right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Is the coast clear?
Yes, let's go.
Are you sure they went to Petco?
Where else would they go?
Oopsie.
Calm down.
I smell presents.
Go to PetLifeRadio.com/Petco and get up to 40% off hundreds of holiday items at Petco. PetLifeRadio.com/Petco.
Uh-oh, step on it.
Okay.
Oh, not on my tail.
Petco, where the pets go.
Dyson.
The new Dyson Animal Vacs are powerful bagless upright vacuums for homes with pets. Air muscle and radio root cyclone technology generates the strongest suction power to powerfully remove dust, dirt, and pet hair from the home or car. To order your Dyson Animal Vac, go to PetLifeRadio.com/Dyson. PetLifeRadio.com/Dyson to order your Dyson Animal Vac today.
Dyson, music to your ears.
Love your pets but wish their medications were a lot less expensive? They are at 1-800-PET-MEDS. You'll not only save on flea and heartworm medications, but on prescriptions for arthritis, incontinence, thyroid, and more. And you get fast service, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Plus, our licensed pharmacists ensure accuracy, monitor drug interaction, and more. See why over 5 million people have trusted their pet's health to 1-800-PET-MEDS, America's largest pet pharmacy. Call now or order online.
Go to 1-800-PetMeds.com/Sassy, SASSY, to get 10% off any order and free shipping on orders of $39 or more at PetMeds.com.
It's the holidays at PetSmart, so come one and all. There are hundreds of gifts for pets big and pets small. Toys only at PetSmart, so special and new. They'll love the gifts. You'll love the value. Hurry to PetSmart today for your very best friend and save 30 to 50% before the holiday ends.
The holidays are just around the corner. Go to PetLifeRadio.com/PetSmart and save up to 30% on awesome gifts for the pets and pet people in your life. Toys, collars, leashes, PetSmart gift cards, treats, and more. So shop early and save money. Go to PetLifeRadio.com/PetSmart today.
Hi everybody, I'm Megan Blake here with my sidekick Super Smiley, the giant mutt and spokes dog for throwaways. You're listening to Pet Life Radio, and I'd like to tell you about our brand new show, A Super Smiley Adventure. Our show explores adventures with animals. They can be traveling, out in the world trips, or inner journeys where our animals lead us to inspiration and self-discovery, or just plain fun adventures. Join us here on Pet Life Radio on A Super Smiley Adventure. Good boy.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets.
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Kelly Jackson with Sassy Seniors. And we have another Sherri on our show today. This is Sherri Long, and she's the author of Dog Trots Globe to Paris and Provence. Thanks for joining us, Sherri.
Sure.
I love your book because it is about your dog, Chula, and his experience in France, correct?
Yes, she has made 2 trips already.
She is quite the world traveler because this is as you said, it's the second time that you have taken her to France. What made you want to do that?
We just couldn't bear the thought of being away from her for that long, and especially as she was getting older, we kind of cherished every day with her. So we did our homework and figured out how to safely get her on an airplane and over to France with us. And we were lucky, actually, that France is so accepting of dogs, no quarantine or anything like that as there is in Great Britain.
Right. Well, we'll talk about the trip itself, just getting there, because, I think a lot of people are gun shy about having their dogs, in the cargo area of a plane because you hear so many horror stories. But you guys have had really good, positive experiences, right?
Well, we did, and, I do think it's important to think about that and to question the airline to find out exactly what their accommodations for the pets are. And, of course, if your dog is small enough, the dog can go in the cabin with you. But Chula had too many of Bob's Good Dinners, and she was over 19 pounds. Actually, she's a 30-pound Sheltie, so she needed to go in the hold with Air France, who was the carrier we went with. They do have a special area in cargo separate from the luggage, and the animals that are traveling are in a climatized cabin and carefully loaded and all of that. And those were important to us. Also thinking about how long the trip is.
Right.
Nonstop flights are best.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about the time of the year that you go so that it's not too hot or too cold. And in fact, some airlines will have regulations that they won't accept your pet if it is in one of those extreme climate times.
And you're saying nonstop flights are best because you don't want to run the risk if you have, a connecting flight, if your dog's going to make it on the next plane.
Yes, and just to have to load the dog, more than once, it just seemed to us to be better to go for the nonstop flight. But she made it fine.
and you also, when we were doing our pre-interview, you were saying, you gave a great tip to freeze the water in their little bowl.
Yes. Several things are important, too, about the carrier that you choose. It needs to be large enough, and you want to choose the kind of food bowls and water bowls that affix well to the side of the crate so that they don't turn over and the dog loses the food and water. And water is particularly tricky because, it sloshes out when when they try to load or if you hit bumps and so on. And so we found that the best way to deal with that was to freeze the water. And it was good when we got on the plane that Chula didn't have to sit on the tarmac or, be in a special area for a very long period of time. The airline allowed her to stay out in the lobby with us, and then just really about 20 minutes before the plane was leaving, they boarded her, and therefore her water was still frozen and stayed good for her so that she had that and did not get dehydrated during the flight. That's really the biggest concern, is the dog getting dehydrated.
That is a fabulous tip. I'll have to remember that when I take my dog to France. So once you guys arrived, you were telling me that, and in the book you even show that, I have to say, Chula does, that there are certain areas of France that are extremely dog-friendly. However, there are some areas not so much.
Well, actually, I think that the French love their dogs, and they love tourist dogs, too. So she had a good welcome. But in the countryside of France and sort of outside Paris, she could go just about anywhere. Obviously, in the restaurants, as you know, they're famous for bringing dogs a water bowl under the table, and the dogs developed good under-the-table manners and actually get along pretty well with the dog next door. So they can go just about everywhere, stay in the hotels, go in the shops. But in Paris, it's a little bit different in that, Paris has a lot of lovely parks and people want to keep them that way. And so you'll come up to a park thinking you're going to run your dog, and of course there's this dreaded no dog sign on the gate. and in fact, it's actually kind of an art form to take photos of the no dog signs that we did, because they're each a little different and some very clever.
Yeah, I saw in the book there was just like 8 different no dog signs.
But yeah, that's fun. In the Tuileries Gardens, there's one area that you can run your dog, and there's a part of the Luxembourg Gardens where you can also take her, and she visited both of those places, of course.
Yes.
But mostly, she just walked and walked on the streets, and in Paris, I think there's, more than 200,000 dogs around, so the streets can become a little littered. And there's quite a campaign now to be sure that people pick up after their dogs. And Chula, who is used to grass, had to learn to do her business on the hard city streets. So she became a little bit of a Parisian dog.
Yeah, because I saw a photo where, they had on the actual, sidewalk, the sign where the dog's supposed to go. And it looks kind of like a railing in the sidewalk. Is that not a railing, but you know what I mean? Is that where they have...
It's painted on the streets, and it's just a white arrow trying to point to an area of the street gutters where, I guess, maybe 100 years ago, trying to identify where you could curb your dog. But of course, those are now relics, actually, from a time gone by. And now everybody, actually, you can get fined fairly steeply if you don't pick up after your dog. And you can even run into people hiding behind trees to pop out at you and be sure you did what you were supposed to do.
Oh my, what, dog detectives? That is too funny. Wow. Do you find that the French, are they different with their dogs than we are in America, or not?
I don't know that I can answer that. Certainly you see a lot of dogs in France and a lot of people who love their dogs, but I don't know really if the attitudes are different.
Okay, so Chula, is she bilingual now? Does she understand French?
She understands a few words, and, I think she definitely understands the word baguette, because she learned to love those long loaves of bread, and she even learned that the market baskets people carry are kind of right at her level, and she could reach in and pull them out. So she got in trouble a couple times doing that.
But she's not banned.
No, she's not banned. And her name means pretty in Spanish, Chula, and so the French kind of liked that a lot, and they would change her name over to Jolie, which means pretty in French, and she began to respond to that name a little bit. I'm not sure if she really knew it was a translation, but she did at least look up and perk up when a French person said that to her.
Oh. Do you think that she knew that she was in a different country? Could she tell it was, not in America anymore?
I think she knew she was definitely someplace new, whether she knew it was a different country or not. But, she got to where she loved to prance into the restaurants, and she would get right under the table, and she knew she was going to get a water bowl because they were so nice to do that all the time. That's one of the, I guess, examples of a different French attitude, is that you're going to take care of the people at the table and the dog under the table.
Right.
So she definitely knew that, and she knew she was more out in the countryside. She's a sheepdog, and one day in the little village, de Provence, where we stay, it happened to be during Pentecost, when the shepherds take their sheep from the lowlands to the highlands. And so 3,000 sheep come into town, and they go around the ring road of the village 3 times. And everyone lines the streets to take pictures, and you can imagine the noise of 3,000 sheep. And we took her down to see that, and it was her first experience with quite so many farm animals. And we wondered if she would have her herding instinct, but she kind of pulled tight on her leash and ran to get under the cafe table. She met so many other animals and was able to, kind of go up to them, and that was certainly different from being at home.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, the thing I like about this book is that, you have not only beautiful photos, but you have cute little illustrations with Chula in the little areas. And it's just done so beautifully. But you also have, it's like video in the book.
Yes, the book is both a print book and an enhanced ebook that is available through the iBook store. And in that way, you have the videos actually embedded in the book. So when you read the chapter about Chula meeting those 3,000 sheep, you can punch a button and actually see and hear the sheep and have kind of more of a multi-sensory reading experience.
No, and I love that, because it's not only great for adults, but it's great for children to see that too.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a really educational experience and entertaining, I love that.
Well, I wanted people to really experience the French culture, and of course they're getting Chula's dog's eye view, but there's also a lot of information about the Eiffel Tower, for example, how it's painted 3 shades of brown, and about the markets in Provence and how they work. And the videos allow you to actually, experience it. And that's something that I think is the future of books.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. And, this is National Adopt a Senior Pet Month, and, just raising awareness about how fabulous our senior dogs are. I'm sure this was wonderful for Chula to have the sights and the smells and keeping her active, and kind of share with our listeners about, keeping your dog, even though he or she may be a senior, keeping them as active and vibrant as possible.
Definitely. We took her out with us everywhere. She would walk down to the markets with us and figured out where the sausage table was right away. And we'd take her in the fields, and she would run through the lavender and the sunflowers. And I think those kinds of new experiences and getting to be outside so much just keeps her happy, and she has that great Sheltie smile and the Sheltie prance that some of your listeners, I'm sure, are very well aware of. And she'll be 11 in January, and she still has all that. So it's terrific to see her as a sassy senior for your program.
Well, she is sassy and just as pretty as can be. Where can people buy your book?
Well, it's published by a California company called OIC Books, which is kind of a play on the, if you say it more like, oh, I see, it kind of fits in with the idea of multisensory books that you can see through videos and audio and songs and so on. And there's a website, it's oic-books.com. And not only can you buy the print book there, but there's also a section of extras where you can see lots more pictures of Chula. You can learn more about Paris and Provence and pet travel and so on. So the idea is to not only, I guess, offer the book, but also this extras experience through a website, again, to be more multisensory. And then it is on Amazon, the print book and a standard ebook. You can then come to the website to see the videos that you can't see when it's displayed on a Kindle, even the Fire that's come out. And it is in the Apple iBook store. And it will be in many others since the book just came out. But for starters, that's where your listeners can find the book if they're interested.
Well, it's a lovely book, and we thank you so much for joining us. And the next trip for you
next trip
and
is
Chula
April.
and your husband. Yes, April in Paris. You can't beat that.
I know.
So April 2012, right?
Yes, that's right.
Wow.
She'll be trotting around the neighborhoods again, so that's good.
Well, we love your book. It's called Dog Trots Globe to Paris and Provence. Sherri Long, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kelly.
It was a pleasure. And I want to thank all of our listeners for joining us. And I promise I will not be a stranger. And I'll be back very soon with another edition of Sassy Seniors. Take care, everyone.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.